Joining me is Sky News Political Editor Andrew Clennell. Andrew, thanks for your time. The Albanese government is already facing a huge problem, in my opinion anyway. We've got shortages of fossil fuel energy, but their global warming policies will almost certainly make these shortages worse in the future, like committing to 82% of electricity for renewable sources like wind and solar in just 8 years. Do you think the penny has dropped with them, that maybe this accelerated global warming plan might lead them into even more trouble?
Well, even if it didn't lead them into more trouble, it would lead perhaps to a perception that it's led them into more trouble. That's the problem they've got, Andrew, and I can see Peter Dutton sort of rubbing his hands with glee at the moment. You've got gas prices going up, you've got petrol prices going up, you've got electricity prices going up. And the sentiment in the public is always, we want to do something about climate change until everything goes up. And then it turns. And we saw this during the last Labor government, I think. It turns towards, in fact, so much so, Andrew, that when Scott Morrison got his cabinet to sign up to net zero emissions target for Glasgow, he tabled in cabinet some polling which showed there was a kind of a limit of how much people would pay for climate for action on climate change. And it was about $100 extra a year. Once you got to $1,000 extra a year, people were saying, no thanks. And I wonder how many people who sort of espouse action on climate change tick that box when they book a flight saying they're going to pay for a carbon offset. I dare say not many. So I guess the point I'm making is it makes the issue quite problematic politically, and there's probably not much you can do about it. There are global forces in play because of the Russia-Ukraine crisis, because coal's expensive at the moment. There's greater demand offshore for gas, and so they can sell it for more offshore, the LNG producers. The government could put in that trigger to mean there has to be a certain amount reserved onshore, but that wouldn't come into effect till January 1. And who's to say that would reduce the prices that much anyway? So I just see a lot of headaches ahead for the government, and I think it was really wishful thinking of Anthony Albanese to say on election night we're going to end the climate wars. Sometimes you don't get a choice on whether a war's ended or not.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, they've already got, talk about, we want to end the climate wars. They've already got the Greens saying no new gas, no new oil exploration or development, nothing like that. When you've got this Beetaloo Basin, this giant Beetaloo Basin, for instance, there are 10 years of supply for Australia just sitting there, and the Greens want that stopped too. Well, the Greens actually have, of course, the Labor government can't get anything through the Senate unless the Greens say yes. Will the Greens get their way on this? No new oil, no new gas?
No, I don't think they will. But interesting to see if they do get any concessions, but I don't think that the government's about electoral suicide. Now, in their defence, they would argue the trajectory is such we're going to get to their 43% by 2030 target anyway. But I'll tell you what, they want to prove in the next 3 years that having more renewables can actually at least stymie electricity prices and the like. They want to prove that, because that was Chris Bowen's argument today. He was saying, well, if the government had done more on renewables, our system wouldn't be so vulnerable to gas prices going up, etc. We'll see, because we know there's been a lot of talk over the years that renewables just aren't reliable enough. Otherwise, I suspect we'd be powered entirely by renewables right now.
I think it's amazing. We've got a crisis caused by not enough gas and oil and coal, and they're saying, no. But what we're really going to do is the same sort of things the Liberals did, but gooder and harder, and suddenly that's going to make it even better. Wakey, wakey, guys. By the way, we've also got China saying to the government, let's have talks now. Let's end all this kerfuffle. But at the very same time, the Chinese ambassador this week is saying, well, first, Australia does have to fix things with us, like, let China build Australia's new telecommunications stuff, which would, of course, allow China to spy on us. And now they've even stopped visits to Chang Lei, the Australian journalist falsely jailed in China on spying charges. Where is this going? I mean, they seem to be making Albanese a very good offer that he cannot actually afford to accept.
I felt from travelling with Albanese to the Quad, he was going to go with the Morrison government's approach on this, that he was going to stick with America and argue that China had made too many aggressive acts towards Australia. And while he might open up a line of communication more than Morrison did, they are our main trading partner after all. And of course, I guess in you raising Cheng Lei, it can help with matters like that. If you do have a line of communication, I don't see him folding on the other issues that you're talking about. I don't see Albanese just bowing to any sort of Chinese government demand whatsoever.
No, I see that too. But for now, I don't know whether the pressure will get too much down the track, but gee, China's got cheek saying it's up to us to fix it. Unbelievable. That is a warning about the nature of that regime. Andrew Clennell, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Andrew.